Hey everybody, it's Master Gallengeist here, bringing you my review for the anime Girls und Panzer and the film Girls und Panzer der Film on Netflix. And this anime's okay. I mainly say that because it doesn't really delve too much into its premise. I mean, it pretty much just says, here's the premise, and then there's like certain things about it. It's like, what the fuck? And it's got a giant cast that only really boils down to the important ones of Miho, the main protagonist that we pretty much follow, and her group of friends around her in her tank. But the rest of them, granted, they also have the student council kind of people that are important because they kind of drive her to do certain things. But other than that, I would barely call the rest of them characters. They're just pretty much used to pilot the tanks. None of them really get delved that much into, except for like the student council people and Miho and her friends. And even then, it's really surface level. It's like, what the fuck's going on here? So the premise is that evidently tankery is associated with girls, and that there are tankery clubs where girls pilot tanks and fight each other. Pretty much all I've got. I don't know why this would occur. And evidently, schools that do these things are on battleships. In a passing episode, they're talking about how they do it for like academic excellence, but I'm just like, why the fuck are there all of these? Why would you put all these schools on these ships? And there's weird things that like these ships have like houses and hills, and I don't know if you really, they're not really mountains. Hills are pretty much most of this stuff, but like swamps, cliff faces. It's really fucking weird, and it's never explained. So that's one of my main issues. The other is pretty much the lack of like character depth. It's very just superficial, and mainly is almost an excuse to just do stuff with tanks, which I really wouldn't have minded if it was done more interestingly. See, whenever you're doing something like this, it's essentially like a sports anime. And I've seen sports anime that have done this stuff better. And also that have like explained terminology in a better way. Like Hakio. That nailed it in having characters that you care about and are interested in, and explaining the terms in ways that just doesn't feel like you're throwing jargon at someone's fucking head. So, the one that we follow around is Miho, and she has transferred to this school because they don't have a tankery club, because she doesn't want to do tankery. She wants to just be her own kind of self. Because she is pretty much part of a family that tankery, ooh, 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 and are set on this one certain way. Well, she makes friends with some people, and she's like, oh, alright, cool. I'm like, alright, this is kind of interesting, but that's about the depth of the character development. They just pretty much fall into their archetypal roles, talking about their usual kind of archetypal things. Even Miho doesn't really have. She just mainly gets her own kind of love. She's like the best developed character, at least that we follow around. So, she pretty much gets coerced by the student council into doing the tankery, and they start off with like barely any tanks. They're able to find like 3. And I'm like, you're telling me that this school has some more tanks and you don't know where the fucking tanks are? And that just doesn't make any sense. I'm like, okay, you'd either sold them off or you don't know where they're at. But that's scary that you would misplace a motherfucking tank. And throughout the course of the anime, they start finding them in the weirdest of places. One is found in a hole in a cliffside. One is found in a swamp. One is found in a forest. One is found in the depths of the goddamn ship. I'm like, one is found in the parking lot. Like, literally. Nobody would walk by me like, there's a tank here. Because it's not fucking hidden. It's not like it's put in a box or anything. There's shit on it. And it's a tank. It's a motherfucking tank, and it's sitting in the goddamn parking lot. I mean, it's kind of funny, but they play it off like that these people did not. That's a tank. Really? It's not like it's a car that you could shoot shit out of. Because there's a fucking barrel on it. I don't know. Like, my car doesn't come preloaded with a goddamn turret and fucking artillery. But they get into the fact that as they're going through and building up the Tankery Club and building their camaraderie, they're fighting these other schools which are like based off of like other nationalities. One follows a kind of like German kind of World War II Germany kind of stuff. One follows the Soviet style, one the American style, one Italian. It's like, this is kind of weird. And it's like surface level shit. Like, the Americans eat junk food, the Italians talk about pasta, the Russians do typical Russian kind of things. Only one that didn't really do anything was like the German one. Now, granted, I understand that if you don't want to go and develop shit on a certain level, fine. But when it's just like base level, like, I'm an Italian and I'm talking about like pasta and shit, I'm like, okay. Alright. It's like, if you can develop at least some more kind of characteristic effect, do it. I mean, they even did this a little bit better with the English one. The English one has the only kind of beginnings to a degree, even though they just use their tank commander to spout off just random bullshit. I'm like, okay, thank you, quote calendar, for that bit of wisdom. But the main kind of focus is Miho and her getting back into tankery and finding her own style and everything and being a tank commander. And they just blast through. Now, granted, they get kind of stuck when they're fighting the Soviets, the Russian one, and they get out of it and they win the tournament and they're like, yay, the school is saved. And I'm like, okay, cool. I get into the film and like 5 minutes in, maybe it's a little bit more than 5 minutes, but the film is too long, and it's just like, what the fuck? Because the beginning, you find out that everything that they did and accomplished meant nothing. The dude's like, I didn't have anything in writing, so fuck you, kid, your school's closed. And then they're like talking about it and being freaked out about it. They put the tanks on the American airplane because they're like, hey, we're buddies because you beat us and everything, it's cool or everything, and they take their tanks on the airplane and then they drop them and they're like putzing around a town in a tank. Why they're able to do that, I don't fucking know. And then they stop off in this like museum that is this like character that Miho likes. I'm like, okay, fine. But they like run into this little girl and Miho gives her this doll that's like one of the last ones, and she's like, thank you, and they go off. The student council president then comes up with another insane scheme to save the school. Now, granted, it goes back down to like suspension of disbelief. It's like, okay, fine, I understand. School's having problems. They're going to close it down. Let's think of ways to do it. I want to know what any kind of court system or whatnot would be like, hey, this dude said, alright, if you fight a university level one and win, your school will close. And that's it. I'm like, what? And they change it up to that, like, it's a 30-on-30 tank battle, and it's annihilation, which previously in the anime we had just seen if you take out the flag tank, you win. It's like, alright, this high school only has 9 tanks. What you gonna do? And evidently, because we have to take that little girl from the museum and do something with her, she's the one that's the tank commander for the university team, and she really doesn't do anything. There's like almost no depth whatsoever, except that the little girl's like, okay, if I win this, we become the patrons of this museum, so that way it doesn't close. But see, what they've mainly done is they went to Miho's and were able to use Miho's mom pretty much to have a like little fight thing between the little girl's mother. I mean, like, yeah, let's do this, and then they get in writing, and then they pretty much take all the other teams that they fought in the anime series and put them on Miho's team. And I'm just like, okay, we're transferring for this tank thing. I'm like, fine, whatever, do it because the plot demands, whatever. Otherwise, nothing else is gonna happen. It's not like you could just pretty much be like, okay, they've got 9 tanks. Why don't we just fucking make the university just have 9 tanks? That way we don't have to fucking do shit. But whatever. Tank mayhem, and it was. It takes a lot of work to make tank battles uninteresting. Not that they're bad. They're not horrible. They just really didn't interest me. There's like a lot of kind of dead space, but granted, in tank battles, no. If you know how to do battles, you know how to have an ebb and a flow. Granted, this pretty much takes up the whole back end of the whole movie, in that we just see all these different kind of rationales of what these people are doing, and Miho trying to like divvy up everything. I know they tried to be like, okay, let's see what would happen with Miho commandeering 30 tanks and having to deal with people that she has fought against. And you get some kind of interesting stuff, but I mean, it's all kind of fluff to a degree, kind of filler. And we also get essentially an open face artillery tank that shoots like fucking giant ass shit. And I'm like, alright. And we also get a super tank that they're able to take out. And we get to a point where they get to the end and Miho's team has 1 tank left and they're able to take out the rest of them. Well, granted, it was 2, but they used Miho's tank pretty much as cannon fodder and took out the other one. And at the end, the museum still got its like thing going on and the school was saved. It was just interesting that the film essentially negated almost everything that occurred in the animation. Oh yeah, all that shit you did meant nothing. Then it's just, alright. Okay. And I liked Miho learning her lesson of like learning the tankery stuff her way, because the thing was, she had gone to like the school that mainly her family had gone to, and she decided in a tankery battle to go save one of her people because the tank went in the fucking river and, well, someone was going to drown. And evidently that's a bad fucking no-no to make sure that your fucking teammate doesn't fucking drown. And that is why she didn't want to do tankery anymore. I'm like, okay. So it was nice to kind of see her get the camaraderie that she needed, not be kind of in like, hey, if your person's going to die, you let him die. I'm like, you need to examine the context of the situation. This is a mock battle. If it was a real battle, you'd be making different decisions. But I don't want to let my friend die and drown. No. So it's really kind of hard to recommend this. This is definitely could be a background anime, like you need something to have on in the background or whatnot, or you want to just hear some weird shit going on. Sure. I would not recommend it for its action because it's just eh. I wouldn't recommend it for its character death because it's just, again, eh. But if you are like in a place where it's like, I'm completely and utterly bored and all the like the rest of the stuff that you're looking at is just like below this one, fine. It'll entertain you and get you through your hours. Pretty much it. So other than that, like, I mean, granted, it could be used as an anime to introduce someone into anime, potentially, because it's not really, doesn't have a lot of sexual content or gory content or anything. It's mainly just a slice of life for tanks because they wanted to have tanks. It's just its own weird little thing. And I wouldn't say that I hate it. It's not horrible. It's not completely horrible. There are mistakes and issues, but I mean, I've seen worse things. But neither would I be like, I need to see that again. I don't. I'm like, okay, cool. And granted, I might look into other stuff that it's done and see if it is like improved or whatnot. It's kind of usually my kind of take with like Sword Art Online. See if it's improved, what's going on with it. But other than that, it's really kind of tough to recommend at all. So those are my opinions on the anime and the film. Tell me what you guys think in the comments below. If you liked it, if you didn't like it, if you agree with me, if you disagree with me. Also like and subscribe, and I hope you have a good day.